This anime looks wholesome, until it absolutely isn't. You've got a shy craftsman who just wants to make dolls, and a fearless cosplay girl who accidentally turns his entire life into an ecchi minefield. Expect bunny suits, changing room disasters, way too many "this is not what it looks like" moments, and enough awkward tension to short-circuit a normal human brain. But here's the twist. Beneath the fan service is one of the most genuine slow-burn romances in anime, where cosplay isn't just sexy, it's about confidence, acceptance, and loving what you're passionate about. If you're here for cute chaos, tasteful ecchi, and emotional payoff, you're in the right place. Let's start from episode 1. The story kicks off with Wakana Gojo and Marin Kitagawa hanging out and watching anime. Gojo is in a good mood, while Marin is totally fixated on one character. As usual, their convo drifts to cosplay. Gojo casually asks if she's already dreaming up her next costume, and Marin basically confirms it without directly saying yes. She's really into this female bunny character. Gojo hesitates for a second, but Marin dives right in, detailing everything about the character. She's super into the design and personality, treating it like gospel. She admits bunny cosplays are her faves and insists nobody really hates them, which is definitely true. While Marin keeps gushing, Gojo listens and picks up on cosplay design tips. He mentions that once he's done with his current project, he'll sketch it all out properly. Marin's surprised because she didn't expect him to take it that seriously. He explains he actually enjoys it and has loads of time. She then brings up heading to a studio later, which sends Gojo into a bit of a spiral. Then Marin pulls out some chocolate and starts munching on it. A moment later, she offers him some and playfully tries to feed him. Gojo's brain just short-circuits. Marin laughs, saying she's just messing around, but the teasing definitely gets to him. Not long after, Noah shows up, reminding Marin about the Halloween party they need to get ready for. She apologizes, says bye to Gojo, and takes off. The next day, Marin stops by Gojo's place buzzing with excitement since it's her first time visiting. In her mind, she's half convinced this is some kind of date, so she shows up ready to impress. But Gojo only invited her over to tackle some cosplay problems. The main issue? The costume keeps slipping down. Marin suggests using straps, but Gojo worries they'll be uncomfortable. They end up heading to the store for materials, and the clerk notices Gojo's super detailed sketch. At first, he thinks Gojo is making the costume for himself, but when Marin appears, he quickly realizes the mix-up and apologizes. Gojo explains he's looking for transparent straps, and the clerk throws out another idea. Gojo kicks himself for not thinking of it sooner and spirals for a bit, even slapping himself in frustration until both Marin and the clerk tell him to chill out. Back at home, Gojo finally fixes all the costume issues. But when Marin tries it on, she accidentally reveals another problem. Gojo bursts in without thinking and gets a peek at her in her underwear. Total panic mode. He shuts the door and loses it. Later, they head to a studio for photos. Gojo feels better when he sees the great setup with perfect background and lighting. Marin casually mentions she's all set with makeup so he won't feel awkward. Then she steps out in the full bunny costume, and Gojo is just not okay with it. The outfit is super revealing, but Marin brushes it off, saying it looks sexier than it is. She starts posing while Gojo takes pics. At first, he keeps it professional, but as Marin kicks it up a notch, he struggles to stay composed. Eventually, he calls for a break before he totally loses it. Marin loves the outfit, but casually brings up another costume she likes even more. Still, she plans to rock this one at the Halloween party and invites Gojo to join her. He's totally taken aback. At the party, everyone snaps photos and compliments Marin's bunny cosplay. Noah performs on stage and the vibe is high. People start reminiscing about Marin's past cosplays, and someone questions how Gojo is so good at makeup, which digs up some of his old insecurities about doll making. But this time, things are different. People defend him, and Marin proudly explains that Gojo comes from a Hina doll-making family, so it makes sense he has those skills. Someone even mentions visiting his shop and realizing how tough making dolls really is. Hearing all this gets Gojo thinking about doing work with real passion instead of shame. Just as things calm down, Noah casually asks if Gojo and Marin are dating. Gojo freezes up completely. If you think the bunny suit was wild, you have no idea what's coming next. The cosplay gets bolder, the tension gets way more dangerous, and Gojo's sanity? Yeah, it doesn't survive this season. So if you're into anime recaps with ecchi moments, real romance, and zero filler, hit subscribe right now because the next episode only gets crazier. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. After casually dropping a bombshell question, Noah mentions she's seen Marin and Gojo together way too many times for it to be nothing. Marin quickly jumps in, clarifying that they do hang out a lot, but she also chills with plenty of other friends too. Noah can't help but tease her about why she's always with Gojo then. Meanwhile, Gojo is having a mental meltdown. He gets so nervous that he spills juice all over himself and rushes to the bathroom to clean up. Marin decides to follow him and waits outside, totally overthinking everything. She starts to wonder if Gojo shuts down the whole dating idea because he's not into her, or if she did something wrong. While she spirals, two guys approach her to chat. Back in the bathroom, Gojo is having his own freak out, convincing himself there's no way someone like Marin could ever like him. He finally comes out just in time to see one of the guys reaching out to her, and his brain jumps to the worst conclusion possible. Gojo grabs the guy's hand and awkwardly says if there's a problem, they should take it up with him instead. The dude is totally confused and realizes Gojo totally misunderstood what was happening. Marin quickly clarifies that they're just her friends, and that they're actually scolding her for wearing thin clothes in the cold and not fixing her hair. Once the two guys leave, Gojo is just standing there, mortified. Marin reassures him, saying there's nothing to worry about and that they're not mad at all. She even mentions they asked her to cut their hair later. Gojo's still shaken up, but before he can recover, Marin leans in and kisses him on the cheek. Gojo completely short-circuits. He tells her she shouldn't do stuff like that so casually because it messes with his head. Marin tries to brush it off, but Gojo insists he definitely heard that kiss. She gets shy, starts rambling, and then sneezes because she caught a cold. The next day at school, the teacher says Marin is out sick with a high fever. Gojo texts her, but hours go by with no response. Worried, he decides to head over to her place. When he arrives, he's got groceries, medicine, and some food. He mentions knowing she lives alone and might be low on supplies. Marin looks really rough, so Gojo carries her, makes some porridge, and feeds her. Marin feels really comforted by that. While he washes the dishes, she grabs onto his clothes, calling his name and saying she feels safe knowing he's still around. Before he leaves, he tells her he cooked extra stuff and stocked the fridge to take some worry off her plate. Just as he's about to head out, the doorbell rings. Marin's friends show up, and Gojo freaks out, remembering how nosy everyone was during the Halloween party. To avoid any awkwardness, he hides on the balcony, which is freezing. Seriously, no fun. Later, Gojo and Marin are at another cosplay event. Marin's way happier this time since she can actually move. While they stroll around, they spot a cosplayer who's panicking about something. Gojo asks what's up, and she explains she lost a pin from her skirt. It's a handmade costume, and without that pin, it could fall apart. Marin jumps in, complimenting the cosplayer and saying how adorable she looks and that the outfit fits perfectly. They all pitch in and eventually find the missing pin. The cosplayer is super grateful and introduces herself as Amane. Marin tells Amane her name is cute and asks if they can snap some pics together. Amane says yes, but mentions her cosplay is only allowed for a limited time. Gojo chimes in, saying he can fix the costume so she doesn't have to stress. He always keeps repair tools on him, suggesting they head to the dressing room. Gojo gets confused about which room to use, and Amane tells him to use the boys' room. Gojo panics, claiming girls aren't allowed there. Amane calmly reveals that she's actually a guy, which shocks both Gojo and Marin. Inside, Gojo and Amane team up to fix the costume while Marin hangs out outside. A bit later, Suzuka, a photographer Marin knows, shows up. She recognizes Marin and thanks her for sharing her photos online. Suzuka asks who Marin is waiting for, and Marin explains someone's costume is being fixed. Suzuka checks out Marin's cosplay and starts praising all the details. Marin can't help but excitedly explain every part of her outfit. Suzuka gets shy hearing about how much thought went into it. Eventually, Gojo and Amane come out with the costume all fixed up. Amane thanks them over and over, saying it's his first time cosplaying, and he was pretty nervous. Gojo tells him there's no need for all that gratitude. Amane starts asking about makeup techniques, especially how to soften masculine features without going overboard. He talks about how important the eyes are and dives into details on how he transforms into his character. Gojo pays close attention, really starting to grasp cosplay at a deeper level. Amane shows them his social media where he posts his cosplay pics, and Gojo looks at the details, already brainstorming how to use these ideas in the future. Before they leave, Amane asks if anything looks off with his cosplay. Gojo assures him it looks great, and that shaping the costume right makes a huge difference. Then he notices how well-defined Amane's chest looks and starts to feel skeptical. Amane casually explains it's something he can equip and even offers to show it, which totally catches Gojo off guard while Marin looks super excited. So, everyone learns that boobs can be accessorized too. Gojo takes Marin to this huge cosplay shop where they have everything you can imagine. Wigs, makeup, full outfits, the works. Marin is totally in her element, Gojo is trying to keep it together, but he's already feeling a bit overwhelmed. While Marin is having a blast experimenting with all the cosplay stuff, Gojo starts to get confused about how some of the accessories are actually used. Marin sees this and playfully shows him the ropes, clearly enjoying his struggle. Gojo is just trying not to blush. When they're browsing through makeup, Amane notices Gojo is curious and asks if he wants to learn more about makeup techniques. Gojo fesses up that he's pretty clueless, especially about cosplay makeup. Amane jumps right in explaining that she doesn't go heavy on makeup and focuses mostly on the eyes. Making them look bigger is key, and the rest just gets adjusted based on face shape. She goes over eyeshadow placement and how tiny tweaks can change a character's whole vibe. Gojo is all ears, soaking it all up and genuinely excited. Marin grabs a bunch of makeup and eyebrow tools, and Gojo starts to realize how fun this is. He's dreaming up ways to up his cosplay game while Marin calls out to him a few times, but he's so focused he barely hears her. As they keep exploring the shop, Amane shares more tips, saying most of this can be practiced at home and picked up over time. They check out cosplays from tons of characters, which makes Gojo hesitate again. He starts thinking about which designs work best and how important customization is. Amane explains that adding little details or tweaking pre-made outfits can really make a cosplay stand out. She shows him how clips and parts can be swapped to make a costume more personal. Finally, Gojo realizes that even if you buy a cosplay, you can always make it better with some effort. That hits him hard. After they finish shopping, they leave the store, and Gojo gives Amane a sincere thanks. Marin immediately pulls out her phone and starts snapping pictures. She's loving it. While Marin and Amane chat about characters, Marin notices the tape on her face starting to peel off, which freaks her out. She rushes over to Gojo to fix it. Gojo carefully adjusts the tape, fully focused. At the same time, two girls approach Amane and ask for photos. Amane happily agrees and calls Marin over, saying there's a guy who helped her cosplay look so good. The two girls get excited and want pictures together, so Gojo ends up being the photographer for this little photo shoot. Once that wraps up, Marin asks Amane how she manages to pull off such perfect cosplays and if that character is her favorite. Amane confirms it is and starts sharing some stories from her past. She talks about growing up with three sisters who are all into cosplay. One day, her older sister decides to dress her up for fun, and when she sees herself in the mirror, she's blown away by how different she looks. That's when cosplay starts to become a passion for her. She picks up makeup skills from her sisters, but opens up about getting bullied in school because of her soft voice. People are always teasing her. Things get better in high school though, and she even ends up with a girlfriend. But when her girlfriend finds out about her cosplay hobby, it all goes downhill. She accuses Amane of being too close to other girls and breaks up with her, which really hurts, but Amane won't give up on cosplay because it's something she loves. While Amane is sharing all this, Marin starts to tear up. Amane freaks out and tells her not to cry, but Marin insists that her ex is totally wrong and that Amane deserves to be accepted for who she is, both as a person and a cosplayer. Amane thanks them for listening without judging and for being so accepting. Gojo tells Amane he's really impressed by her confidence and how open she is about everything. She thanks them again, and right before she leaves, she tells them to reach out if they ever need help, and that they'll definitely see each other again. Later, Gojo and Marin are excited about the idea of hanging out with her again and invite her over sometime. Then the scene switches to Gojo and Marin doing a cosplay photo shoot for a magazine. A female staff member comes up to Gojo and asks him to model since Marin keeps getting a lot of requests. Gojo misinterprets the situation and thinks Marin might have a boyfriend, so he awkwardly denies it, insisting they're just friends working together. Marin comes back all cheerful, and Gojo suddenly gets shy again while the staff member leaves looking confused. The episode wraps up with Marin celebrating Shizuka-tan's birthday at home. She's having a blast, cutting the cake, laughing, and just enjoying herself to the fullest. The teacher announces that the school is throwing a talent festival, and everyone has to join in. They've got about 2 weeks to prepare, and students can practice after school or during lunch, but if they stay late, they'll lose points. There's also a class ranking, so everyone wants to get their class to the top. Then the teacher drops another event, a beauty pageant-themed festival kicking off in 2 days, where the winner can snag extra points for their class. Everyone immediately turns to Marin and starts hyping her up. The teacher also says that girls can dress as boys, and boys can dress as girls, which totally gets Marin excited. When she asks the class if anyone's cool with her entering, everyone's on board. When it comes to her character, she reveals she's going as a male character this time. She turns to Gojo and asks if he can whip up her outfit, which totally shocks the class. Marin, though, is super confident he's the right person for the job and insists he can manage. Meanwhile, Gojo's freaking out inside. After class, Marin dives into details about the character, who's calm, gentle, and admired by everyone, eventually becoming a leader without trying to steal the spotlight. Gojo's all ears as he starts sketching out the outfit. He explains that since Marin's going for a male character, her makeup needs to be sharper and more masculine. She'll need thicker eyebrows and a few tweaks to her facial features. Marin takes it all in and realizes this cosplay project is going to be quite detailed. When they hit props, Marin suggests a specific flower, but Gojo points out it's too pricey. He then suggests a cheaper option that they can paint to match. Marin's impressed. Since the character is tall and she isn't, they decide high heels are a good idea to help with that. As Gojo talks about posture and body proportions, he suddenly mentions that her body type is already perfect for the role, which catches Marin off guard. Noticing something's up, she brushes it off and says there's no need to stress since they have 2 weeks. Gojo admits he's feeling the pressure too with his interior design projects and the time crunch, but reassures her that everything will be fine. He reminds her how long Suzuka's cosplay took, but promises this one will come together even faster because he genuinely enjoys it, which surprises Marin. She thinks about tackling the outfit herself, but realizes he's already taken full control. Before they leave, he tells her to call him if anything comes up, and even suggests reaching out to Sejuna for extra help. Marin nervously checks if he's really okay handling everything, and he confidently assures her he can. Later, Gojo is swamped with work, juggling school stuff and cosplay prep. Some classmates tell him to chill and that they'll help out too. When they ask about Marin, he mentions she went shopping, making them tease that he spoils her too much. Eventually, he checks in with Marin, who says she's at the station. He tells her to take her time since they'll go fabric shopping together. Once they meet up, they take their time picking out the fabric for her cosplay. Gojo wraps up a sketch for Marin's cosplay and shows it to his grandfather. Right away, his grandpa picks up on how much the design resembles traditional Hina dolls. He shares that making a proper doll takes 12 days and a whole crew of people. Marin is pretty blown away by the level of effort and skill that goes into something like that. While they munch on food, Marin overhears Grandpa telling Gojo to not push himself too hard during the festival and that he'd help with chores. Gojo shoots that down because he's worried about his grandpa's health. Seeing that makes Marin decide quietly that she wants to pitch in and help him out more. The next day, Gojo gets to school early to work on costumes, and out of nowhere, Marin pops up with lunch she made for him. He's totally shocked since she's never done that before. She won't spill the beans on what it is until lunchtime, which keeps him distracted all day. When lunch finally rolls around, she opens her lunchbox to reveal rice balls. Gojo lights up and can't stop raving about how good they are. Marin's really pleased and promises to whip up lunch again. As days go by, the students start chatting about the festival rules and performances. Some of them get a bit salty about the strict time limits, but the vibe shifts to food and lunchboxes, and everyone lightens up. Gojo accidentally shows how observant he is by picking up on what everyone means, which impresses his classmates but also makes him a bit tense. Later, Noah and some girls start teasing and flirting with Gojo for kicks. One of his buddies sees he's uncomfortable and pulls him away, claiming he needs help with supplies. While he's gone, Marin notices one of Gojo's shirt buttons is undone and tries to fix it. When he comes back and sees what she's doing, he feels this unexpected wave of happiness. As they keep preparing, Gojo starts worrying about Marin playing a male role. He figures that just makeup and clothes won't cut it. She needs to act and move like a guy too. The next day, she rolls in wearing compression wear to shape her body. When she tries on the outfit, everyone compliments how great it looks. Gojo, however, spots a little flaw in the costume. Even though others say it's fine, he knows that small mistakes can mess up the whole look. So he decides to remake it, surprising everyone with his commitment. He explains that just makeup isn't enough. She needs to fully get into character. He uses Amane as an example, saying cosplay works best when you understand posture, expressions, and the character's vibe. Marin listens intently and is on board. One of his classmates, Morita, gets hooked after seeing pics of Amane and even develops a crush. But when he finds out Amane is a guy, he's totally heartbroken. Gojo realizes Morita would be perfect to help Marin, so he asks him for help. Morita happily jumps in and teaches her how to stand, pose, and move like a male character. Marin mimics him perfectly, and everyone is impressed. More classmates gather around, including a shy guy who likes female-oriented shows but feels embarrassed about it. Gojo reassures him that it's all good to like what you like, which gives him a boost of confidence. He starts taking photos and joins in on the fun. Marin strikes poses confidently, the class gets lively, and Gojo watches it all with a quiet sense of satisfaction. Gojo notices that Marin's cosplay is almost finished, but they still need one last thing: a special flower prop. Since a real flower isn't really an option, he decides to paint one himself. But when he's done, it looks totally off. They both start freaking out as time runs out. A few classmates see them stressing and ask what's up. After they explain the situation, one friend jumps in and reassures them. She tells them to hang tight and comes back with a flower. She explains that by cutting, shaping, and dipping it in colored water, they can recreate the flower perfectly by wish tomorrow. Gojo and Marin are blown away by how simple it is and thank her a ton. As the days go by, the festival finally kicks off. The classroom is buzzing with energy, decorations, and last-minute hustle. At one point, a classmate cracks a joke about their class potentially losing, which leads to some playful banter. Gojo tells Marin that no matter what happens, they're all in to help their class win. Marin reassures him, saying he's already done more than enough with her costume and makeup, and promises to give it her all. When it's time to get ready, Gojo starts on Marin's makeup, but more classmates start to gather and watch. This makes him super nervous since it's his first time doing this in front of a crowd. He worries that one little mistake could mess everything up. Marin notices he's tense and checks in on him. He takes a deep breath and reminds himself that everyone believes in him. Then we shift to the stage. Marin gets called up, and the moment she steps out, the whole crowd reacts. She doesn't look like herself anymore. She's totally transformed into the character. Even the student council president seems impressed. Watching from the audience, Gojo feels this overwhelming pride that's different from the satisfaction he gets from making dolls, and he can't quite wrap his head around it. During her performance, someone asks where Marin got her outfit and makeup from. She proudly gives Gojo the credit. Hearing that fills him with a quiet but powerful sense of achievement. Marin wraps up her performance with a confident pose, and their class takes first place. Everyone is celebrating and showering them with praise. A party is planned afterward, and even though Gojo tries to dodge it, he eventually joins in. At the party, he gets bombarded with compliments. At first, it feels nice, but it quickly becomes a bit much, and he sneaks away for a breather. Later on, Marin finds him and excitedly talks about how amazing the performance was. Then she spots a photo booth and realizes she's never taken a picture with Gojo. She shyly suggests it, but before they can do it, classmates pull him away for group pics. Marin goes along with it, but it's clear she's a bit disappointed. Gojo gives Marin a cute little soft toy, and it instantly brightens her day. While she's getting her makeup done, she excitedly chats with her friends about everything that's been going on. During their convo, one friend casually mentions that Marin looks like she's gained a bit of weight. Marin quickly brushes it off and denies it. Afterward, Marin finishes up a photo shoot and can't wait to tell her friends that the guy she likes gave her a plushie. Everyone gets super hyped, but then the vibe shifts when another friend shares that she has a new boyfriend. Marin is pumped and asks to see a pic, but the friend shyly admits she didn't mention it earlier because she felt a bit embarrassed. Then, the weight gain comment pops up again, and Marin denies it once more. But this time her friend warns her about an upcoming summer shoot where she'll be wearing revealing clothes. Marin really doesn't want anything to go wrong, so she starts to take it more seriously. Marin checks herself out in the mirror and tries on different outfits. The more she looks, the more uncomfortable she gets. She notices her stomach looks a bit different, and that's when it hits her. She really has gained weight. So from the next day, Marin announces she's going on a diet. Her friends are shocked, and when one of them admits she noticed the weight gain earlier, Marin gets upset for not being told sooner. But another friend calms her down, explaining that she looked fine during the Rei-sama cosplay because that outfit was tight and controlling. Remembering that just makes Marin feel worse. Later that night, Marin goes over to Gojo's place, where he and his grandfather whip up a fantastic meal. She enjoys eating and even helps wash the dishes. Just as she's about to leave, Gojo stops her and packs her a tiffin with breakfast for the next day. Marin feels super touched and leaves with a smile, but on the way home she starts spiraling again, worried that eating more will just make things worse. The next day, Marin breaks down and tells Gojo everything. She says she won't do cosplay or photo shoots until she's thinner. Gojo is shocked and tries to calm her down, explaining that weight changes are totally normal and nothing to stress over. Marin gets emotional and says she doesn't want excuses, just results. When Gojo asks about her eating habits, she admits she eats around 5 times a day. That kind of explains everything. Gojo gently suggests she fix her diet instead of starving herself, and Marin nods in agreement. Shortly after, she messages him to see if he's free the next day to go shopping, and he's in. They then hit the park afterward. Marin picks up some cute socks for a photo shoot and asks him to snap some pictures. Instead of her phone, she pulls out a DSLR camera, which totally surprises him. He gets excited and starts taking photos seriously after checking out the manual. While they're shooting, Marin talks about hosting a party and invites Gojo to an event happening on Saturday where one of her favorite creators will be. He agrees, and Marin's super curious why he never told her about his online account. He explains he never posts anything, but Marin just wants to follow him. Later on, Marin gets home and takes a cute photo of Gojo's grandfather to show him later, which makes everyone smile. Gojo and Marin finally make it to the cosplay event they've been looking forward to. Once they're in, Marin mentions she's going to catch up with Suzuka and wants to see Amane too. They decide to split up for a bit, and Gojo goes off to meet up with Akira. Marin finds Suzuka and starts chatting excitedly. She brings up that Amane is also around, so they decide to hunt for him together. When they spot him, he's surrounded by photographers and looking a bit overwhelmed. Though he came to have fun, he can't move with everyone wanting to snap his photo. Marin immediately compliments his cosplay, which brings a smile to his face. Suzuka quickly figures out what to do and suggests Amane pick just one photographer so the rest would ease off. She takes charge and gives him some breathing space. Meanwhile, Gojo meets Akira, and they mistakenly think the other is a different gender at first, but they clear that up pretty quickly. Later, Marin and Suzuka run into another cosplayer dressed like a guy. Marin happily takes some photos with her, and Suzuka explains how taking photos from different angles can totally change how a cosplay looks. Marin pays close attention. Not long after, a cosplayer named Mia invites everyone to an after-party. Gojo's super impressed with Akira's cosplay and tells her he can't find anything like it online. Akira shares that she designs it herself and starts chatting about different types of cosplay, which really gets Gojo interested as he fires off questions and soaks it all in. Marin calls Gojo to tell him where she's at, and he joins their group. They all introduce themselves, and it turns out Suzuka and Akira already know each other, which makes things feel a lot more chill. At the after-party, Mia shows Gojo a doll she brings with her, and he lights up, excited to find out he's not the only one who carries one around. They totally bond over it. Later on, Mia gets a message saying she can't make it to a shoot coming up, and Suzuka says that's a bummer because they've already booked a studio. Marin asks what the shoot's for, and Suzuka fills her in. It's for a horror game cosplay called Coffin that involves 6 nuns. Amane says he wants in, but they still need more people. Marin hesitates at first because she's on a diet, but after some persuasion, she agrees and mentions she knows someone who might be able to help. She pulls out her phone and makes a call to someone she knows. And this is where everything changes. Up to now, it was cosplay chaos, close calls, and accidental ecchi moments. But from here on out, the feelings stop being jokes, confessions start forming, misunderstandings hit harder, and the line between friends and something more gets dangerously thin. If you've made it this far, you already know, this isn't just fan service anymore. So subscribe now because the next episodes don't just raise the stakes, they go straight for the heart. Marin calls up Juju and asks her to join the Coffin cosplay project, but Juju instantly turns her down. She says she only cosplays when she feels like it and hangs up. Marin shares the news with the rest of the group and everyone feels let down. Later, Juju's little sister overhears the call and asks what's up. When Juju fills her in, her sister looks really bummed out because she wants Juju to take part. Seeing her sister's reaction, Juju changes her mind and calls Marin back. Soon after, Juju shows up, and at first, everyone's shocked, but then they're super excited. With Juju in, the group is now 5 strong. They even invite Juju's sister to join in, which makes her really happy. They start assigning roles and getting ready. Gojo offers to help out, and Mia gives him the job of filming a dinner scene. During breaks, Marin excitedly tells Juju's sister about her Rei-sama cosplay at school. She gets super hyped and asks to see pics, but Marin has to admit that none were taken, which bums them out. Meanwhile, Gojo catches Akira saying she's not really a fan of Marin, and things get awkward. Akira panics and tries to explain herself quickly. Later, we see Gojo and Marin hanging out at home. Gojo's playing a horror game to get a better feel for Coffin. They agree the game isn't really that scary. Then Marin jokes about Gojo staying over at her place, but he freaks out and says no way since his grandfather would worry. After finishing some work, he gets ready to leave, but Marin shows off the Coffin cosplay she ordered. He compliments it and suggests a few tweaks, which she happily agrees to. When Gojo checks the train schedule, he realizes he missed the last train. Marin insists he stay the night since her parents aren't home. He's hesitant at first, but she drags him out shopping for supplies anyway. At the store, Gojo secretly grabs energy drinks, planning to pull an all-nighter. Marin sees him and gets flustered, misunderstanding what's up. When Gojo says he's not planning to sleep at all, her imagination starts running wild. Marin spirals into embarrassment and overthinking, while Gojo stays completely oblivious. Gojo and Marin wrap up their shopping, and Marin spots him grabbing energy drinks, which totally throws her off. She blushes and gets super shy. After they finish buying everything, they head back to her place, and Marin's a bundle of nerves, thinking something exciting is about to go down tonight. Once they're home, Gojo casually tells her to take a bath first. That one little comment sends her mind spiraling. She rushes off, overthinking everything, convinced that this is the night for something big. When she comes back, she expects him to take a bath too, and even lays out some clean clothes for him, turning red the whole time. After they both bathe, Gojo just sits down and dives into a game. Marin hangs out next to him, feeling more and more confused. Nothing is happening, no flirting, no moves, just him totally focused on his game. As she shifts closer, she starts overthinking even more. Eventually, she gets so nervous that she almost collapses. Gojo freaks out and helps her up. Marin blurts out that she wants to eat first because she can't handle anything else yet. Gojo misses the hint and just agrees. They sit down to eat noodles together. Marin mentions they're low-calorie because she's on a diet. After eating, she gets sleepy, and Gojo gently tucks her into bed before going back to his game. He ends up staying awake all night, powering through energy drinks to finish the horror game so he can understand the coffin cosplay better. In the morning, Marin wakes up and realizes nothing happened between them. She spots the empty energy drink cans and figures out he pulled an all-nighter just for her. Gojo explains that knowing the character means the world to him. She totally agrees, but things get a bit awkward when food comes up again. When Gojo remembers the game's creepy cannibal themes, he panics. Later, while on a call with Suzuka and Juju's sister, Gojo explains the horror game, revealing that 6 nuns are just illusions created by the main character, who ends up killing and eating them. Everyone else is super into the story, but Gojo suddenly realizes how creepy the shoot location might actually be. Meanwhile, Marin thinks about everything Gojo does for her and decides she wants to be more than just friends. She builds up the courage to confess her feelings. On her way to his house, her friend Noah notices she seems serious and asks what's up, but Marin brushes it off. When she gets to his place, they eat again, and she almost confesses but loses her nerve. As Gojo walks her to the station, she tries again but wimps out, just asking if she can come over tomorrow instead. He casually tells her she can come by anytime. On the train ride home, Marin promises herself that next time, she's really going to tell him how she feels. Gojo runs into Akira, and they end up teaming up to bake some cakes. He's really impressed with her skills and asks how long she's been at it. Akira shares that she got into it back in junior college, around the same time she met Miyako and Suzuka. At that point, she wasn't into cosplay herself, but loved helping others out. She opens up about her backstory, saying her mom really dislikes anime and cosplay, so she threw away all of Akira's stuff. Her dad just stayed quiet about it. Because of that, Akira learned to hide her interests and convinced herself she didn't really like anything. At school, she steered clear of anime fans. Then one day, she bumps into Miyako and Suzuka at a shop and realizes they're otaku too. That moment really changes things for her, and she decides she wants to back people who truly love cosplay. Gojo totally connects with this and admits he's doing the same for Marin, helping her out because she really loves what she's into. Akira agrees, saying that helping others is something she chooses for herself. The scene shifts to the Coffin Project, where Shinju and the others are chatting about their roles. Turns out Juju's favorite character is from Black Lily. Shinju explains she never thought she could cosplay that character because of her height and baby face. But then Miyako and Suzuka get this idea to surprise her and make the costume anyway. Juju is totally shocked and tries to back out, saying she hates surprises. They call her out on it, pointing out that her insecurity goes deeper than just her height. It's about how she sees herself. They explain that cosplay isn't about fitting a perfect body type, but expressing the character in a personal way. Slowly, Juju starts to come around. When Shinju and Marin finally show up in costume, everyone is blown away. Marin even gets emotional and says it looks perfect. During the photo shoot, Suzuka is super careful with the angles, making sure to avoid full body shots to downplay Shinju's height. Everything goes smoothly, and they celebrate afterward. Juju thanks everyone from the heart and says she's definitely going to keep cosplaying. Marin is really trying to hype herself up to finally confess her feelings to Gojo. She practices saying, "I love you," but the moment she thinks about it, she gets super shy and spirals out a bit. Just then, Gojo knocks on the door. He casually says hi and reminds her that he's going to do her makeup for their group cosplay shoot. Marin tries to play it cool, but inside, she's completely freaking out. As he starts on her makeup, she can't help but notice how close he is and how gentle he is with her. It just makes her feelings for him even stronger, and she keeps hoping this will be the moment she finally spills her heart out. When everyone else shows up at the studio, the vibe shifts for the Coffin Group cosplay shoot. The set is super dark and dramatic with fake blood and all sorts of props. Shinju looks a bit on edge about the horror theme, but pushes through it for her sister's sake. During a break, Gojo chats with her, and she admits she's terrified of horror stuff but wants to support her little sister's dream. He reassures her, saying she's an awesome cosplayer, and his kind words really help her feel better. Later on, Marin accidentally overhears something Akira says and totally misinterprets it. She thinks Akira doesn't like her, and it crushes her. Overwhelmed, she shouts that Akira hates her and refuses to take photos together, which leaves everyone stunned. Akira quickly clears things up, saying she's actually a big fan of Princess Marin and has been admiring her cosplay for ages. She even pulls up saved photos, and Marin is just blown away. Gojo finally gets what happened earlier and sees how hurt Marin was. The awkwardness fades as Shinju excitedly pushes Marin and Akira to take pictures together. Everyone relaxes, laughs, and enjoys the rest of the shoot. After the event wraps up, Marin and Gojo ride home together on the train. Marin steals herself one last time. When they get to her place, Gojo thanks her for having him over and says he had a blast making costumes together. Right outside her house, Marin suddenly grabs his hand and asks for a selfie. They lean in close to take the picture, and both of them get flustered and nearly trip over each other. The season ends on this sweet moment. Their feelings are still unspoken, but they feel closer than ever. And that's where the season ends. No confession, no clear answer, just two people standing right on the edge, knowing everything has changed. If you stayed until now, you didn't just watch an ecchi cosplay anime, you watched two awkward hearts slowly learning how to reach each other. And this story? It's far from over. More cosplay, more tension, more moments that make you yell at the screen, just say it already. So if you want the next arcs, the next recaps, and more anime that mixes fan service, romance, and real emotional payoff, hit subscribe now. Because when this story continues, you're going to want to be here for it.